You ready? Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Orange Bumper Podcast. Um, I'm playing a little different role this week. As you can see, I am not Philip Dixon. Thank goodness. He's at the beach with some friends. He does have a few. This week, we are joined by Mike and Chase Robertson. Glad that you guys could come out. I love watching. I love watching you race, Chase. I really do. I try to every chance I get, I try to get up there and watch the other divisions, and I love watching the sportsman division and you in particular. So we'll start with Mike. Mike is a second generation racer at Bowman Gray with 37 wins in the sportsman and stadium stock division. His dad, Gerald, which I remember watching Gerald race, raced for nearly 50 years, competed at Daytona and Charlotte 1977. That was an interesting fact I did not know. He raced in the stadium stock division at Bowman Gray with 10 wins, and he had a win at 70 years old.
70 years
70
old.
years old. That's dude, I hope I can get up out of the chair at 70 years old. So to think about winning a race there while I'm 70, that's pretty amazing. But so Chase is Mike's youngest son. You started racing at 8 years old.
Mhm.
You debuted at Bowman Gray in 2019, first win in 22, and the youngest sportsman champion in 23 at 19 years old.
Yep.
You're employed by ECR.
Correct.
That's pretty cool. I think it's worth mentioning that your wife, your mom, helped us with the marketing stuff with racing when we had Dario on board for the Clash. Your brother Bryant still races today, and your oldest son Ryan is still racing.
Yep.
So I know he stepped away for a little bit.
He did.
Back. So I think this is going to be a cool show because I can relate to you guys.
Right.
Our families are pretty similar in how they started and where they are today. So Mike, I'll talk to you a little bit. I think both of us have worn the shoes you're wearing. Talking about following your dad's footsteps and now mentoring your son and sons. We've both been, that's his boy.
That's
Gerald's
it.
boy, Gary's boy. We've both been that. So you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, obviously coming from a racing family, obviously we grew up a mile from Bowman Gray. I used to walk there on Saturdays and get there early and wax Don Smiths and James Call and when Richie would come down and Jerry would come down, I'd go over there and I was in awe of them. So I mean, watching my dad struggle through the modifieds was hard. I mean, he was a 9th, 10th place guy, and we would. A good night with us was when we could get a used tire from Ralph Brinkley, but we enjoyed it and Dad enjoyed it. He knew he didn't have the funds to run up front, but he was a solid guy. He was not a bad. I'd like to have seen what he could have really done with good equipment and the funds. Then he stepped away and then came back later in his senior years to run 4-cylinder, and I was terrible. I won a few races, but I got lucky. I'm sure everybody fell out, and I was the last driver running. So, once Ryan came along, I kind of stepped to the side, and then obviously when Chase came, Ryan kind of took a back seat, and we focused all of our attention to Chase, and now Ryan has come back and. We didn't intend Ryan to run.
He's running good.
Yeah, we didn't intend
really good
for him to, and then all of a sudden he just decided he wanted to mash the gas, and wow, he can still do it. He's he got used to a straight rail car, which he had always run a perimeter. So it's kind of cool to see your kids, especially in the last 100 lapper. Chase won, Ryan finished second, and I'm like. That's all right there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's been fun, and we're excited about what Chase has in store. He's got a lot of good things. We got some things happening after the stadium, so we're excited, and hopefully we'll be announcing some stuff soon.
Well, cool. Well, I'm going to talk to him about that shortly, but there's one thing I do want to talk about. Bowman Gray has a lot of drama. We all know. We've all been involved in, you not so much, but it's coming.
Try to stay out of it.
You stay there long enough, it's coming.
Yeah, we're going to get him out from over there.
Well, that's what I keep saying about Slate. I want Slate to get a modified win so bad so we can get him out of there. But I would like him to get a win. But So, Devin, you want to pull up
Oh,
the video?
we're going back. We're going back in the memory
We're
bank
going
here.
back old school. We're digging into crates. So,
Now you got to remember,
was
this was
2013? Am I right with that?
yeah, and this was back before everybody had the cameras out and everything. So when it went viral, I mean, I had a guy in Australia that I had been friends with. I mean, he's texting me and calling me and saying, it's on the news over here. I'm like, okay. But it was one of them racing deals got out of hand. Yeah, and you'll notice how close I came.
You just about.
I came close to being really
And then
hurt.
he got up for more.
Yeah, right. They ran back. Well, that's what you do,
run,
man.
Go
That's
back,
what you
run
do.
for more. What was I going to do, really? I mean, you think about it. What was I going to do? Obviously, I was trying to reach for his MSD wires, but then I decided to hang on. And then I seen that, and I said, I better let go because this is going to hurt.
Well, what do they call that? Whiskey throttle when you can't let go?
I don't know. I called it stupid. And, everybody was, and I looked back and it didn't take long, maybe the next morning or the next week, I realized 95% of that was my own fault. Nobody told me to grab a hold of his car. And,
well, you probably weren't expecting him to gas up and drive
I
away
wasn't
either.
expecting it. And, there's a lot of backstories to how that happened. But yeah, I mean, Derek was known as the Punisher. I tell people about Derek, you probably had the same thing with Junior Miller. When you look in your mirror and they're behind you, you got two choices. You either going to outrun them or you're going to pull over.
Yeah.
That's your only options.
Pulling over is not fun.
And pulling over ain't an option. So, Derek always had a good car, and he used his front bumper, and he wasn't bashful, and he was a good driver. He had a good piece.
So how old were you when this happened? Do you remember this?
I remember him.
9.
I remember him because he come down after the races was over, and he was really, really upset. And he told me, "Don't ever do that
Don't
again."
do it again.
Yeah. And Ryan was in Las Vegas at a trade show for work, and he was burning my phone up. But it was just, I think it was really one of the very first viral moments of the stadium.
You're probably right.
Because,
Yeah.
I mean, there was one video, that's not the one, but the one video had it was well over 1 million views within
Well, didn't it
6
make
months
national news?
Oh,
Didn't
yeah,
they?
it was on Good Morning America.
That's what I thought. It was on Good Morning America or
ESPN,
something like that. That's what I
and
thought.
all that. And, I done one interview, and that was with Jeff, Jumping Jeff. And I didn't even want to do that. I was ashamed. I was embarrassed. It's not something that I'm proud of.
Right.
But nowadays, you'll notice this, anything that happens in the pits at Bowman Gray, and you're not included in it, just stand back and look. Somebody's doing this.
Absolutely.
And it's forever.
Yeah.
And it's just the times that we live in, and
You can't hide no more. That's for sure.
no, it's not a lot. But it wasn't the stadium's fault. It wasn't Derek's fault. It was my fault. I grabbed a hold of it. It was stupid, and I was lucky I didn't get hurt bad. I mean, I hurt.
Yeah.
I hurt. I mean, I came with about 3 inches from hitting my head on that guardrail.
Yeah, it looks like it.
And it was a wild night.
See, us parents, we do stuff for you kids to learn what not to do.
That's
definitely not
a
gonna
good
do
thing.
that.
That's not a good thing. So
I tap danced on a guy's windshield on national TV on the Madhouse shows, so I can attest to that.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
all right, well, Chase. So our racing families, like we talked about, are pretty close to the same with the generations. You're a third generation. You were Gerald's grandson, Mike's son.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're pretty much making a name for yourself. So, at what point, and I think I know the answer to this because I know when I came up, it was not if I race, it was when I race. Mike, you probably the same way. There was never another option in your mind except go race. But do you remember a time when you thought, this is what I want to do?
I'd probably say in 2019, when we raced the 602 tour. We had some success there, and I was having fun. So I was like, I think this is really what I want to do. So I'd say that year and that season was probably when I decided I wanted to do it. And like you said, I always grew up with a race car in my house. Like, I mean, I remember just crawling under the cars and just handing dad tools and stuff. So it was just something that was in the family, and I didn't want to be the one not to do it. So.
Yeah, right. It's pretty fun too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't regret anything.
Yeah. Now, about $1 million later,
Yeah, right.
we could
Well,
talk about
and I think you fall a victim to. I've said this out. I've said this publicly, and I don't want it to sound the wrong way. Kind of what we touched on a while ago about getting him out of Bowman Gray, right? That's what we say.
Well, and
But I think people that hear that might not understand it.
yeah, it's nothing against
It's
Bowman
nothing
Gray.
against Bowman Gray
No,
Stadium.
but
It's the fact that if you want success in NASCAR and want a career in NASCAR,
you can't do it
I
at
told
stadium.
Slade it can't be at Bowman Gray.
No, there's name one that's made it.
Right.
Now
right.
you and Tim made it into that upper level,
Right,
but
at 50 years old.
yeah.
So
but
there was
that's
no
not
career
a career.
after
You're,
that.
yeah,
Right.
I don't think they're calling you,
No.
wanting a multi-year contract
No,
with you.
no, not
Yeah,
yet.
yeah,
Or
not
check
yet.
my phone.
You still
I
got a few
check
more
my phone,
years.
Slade. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I grew up racing at Bowman Gray because my dad raced at Bowman Gray, and
too.
his dad raced at Bowman Gray, which is the same reason your kids
Yeah.
and your brother and your family's at Bowman Gray. That's just what we had.
Yeah.
It's what we had, and our situation's a little different too because even the sportsman division I think falls into this a little bit. I've had people over my career when I was younger to say, "Why don't you get a late model stock?" Well, I got 2 modifieds. What am I going to do? Sell both modifieds and get a half of a late model stock? Because you know yourself, you can't just pick up the eggs out of one basket and put them in another
No.
basket. So it's tough to just kind of start over. And this day and time, we all know this world revolves around money. It's
Money.
about sponsorship. It's about paying the bills to go racing. But it does make it tough. But what do you think? Like, I know the generic the generic answer to this question is the Cup Series.
Yeah.
But like, what is your not ultimate goal, but where do you see yourself in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years?
I definitely would like to be in the car store just because, in my opinion, that's the hardest series on short track level. They produce great racing. Obviously, they produce great talent. So there's a lot of people getting the car store. A lot of the guys up, big time like to look at the car store and pick people out of that, like Butterbean, Corey Heim raced in it. So there's just a lot of people that's where they really get noticed at. And another thing is I'd like to do the Smart Tour too.
Yeah.
I'd like to drive a modified at one point. I don't think you can beat 600 horsepower and then big tires. So just either them two would be great for me.
Yeah. Well, I'm biased towards the modifieds, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, we'd love to do. I mean, we looked at the Smart Tour. Obviously, we got some connections with Todd Hunt.
Yeah.
Big into the modified racing. Just trying to put a puzzle together. When you're looking at your kid, there's more than just talent. You gotta have a lot of things go your way. You gotta have people. You gotta have money. You gotta have. There's just so many things. So. Putting a puzzle together and at the right time and it's not easy.
Right.
We're not millionaires, so unfortunately we have to try to put this puzzle together and connect this dot with that dot, this person with that person, and try to come up with the best scenario. There's nothing against Bowman Gray. I want to make sure that that there's nothing I'm bad. Bowman Gray is the highest of high. And it's the lowest of low.
Absolutely.
I mean, I've been on both ends of the spectrum.
Right?
And but Bowman Gray, you'll become a local hero, no doubt. You'll sell a lot of T-shirts. People will know you. You can go in a restaurant. But at some point, if you want to progress, you're not going to do it. I don't think Toyota and Chevy and all these guys that are funding these, development programs are looking at Bowman Gray for talent.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Right.
Now, that's not
that it's not
no,
there.
and I've
Right.
said all along, I can take 10 drivers that race at Bowman Gray even I can see talent in a 4-cylinder
Absolutely.
driver, all the way to a model. They can run on
Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday.
Yes, sir.
But they just haven't had that break.
Right.
And that's just the way it is. And, I was shocked that when the Cup guys came, I was expecting these guys ain't going to make it right here.
It surprised me too.
Buddy, within 10 laps, I put my foot in my mouth.
I did too.
These guys were the best of the best and put on a show.
They did.
The other thing is like the way that their cars rolled through the center.
Oh,
was
yeah, well,
crazy.
that really-
Yeah.
It was quick. I was expecting it to be.
Their first practice was their fastest times, and they were as fast as the modifieds.
Yeah, it was
That
amazing
blew my mind.
to
That
watch
blew
them,
my
the
mind.
way they had their car. And, we went back, and I hope our car looks similar to it when it goes and hugs that bottom like they did. But it was, and I watched your first practice, you were washing out.
Yeah.
I mean, you were,
Yeah.
and then the next practice, it kept coming in. It
Right.
and before you know it, you were on the bottom,
Right,
like the
right.
rest of them. But I mean, for what you were doing and it ain't like you can go test it at Caraway,
Yeah, you can run on that sim all day long, but to
Yeah,
me,
that
that was a
sim is
glorified
not, yeah.
video game. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's there's nothing like getting in there and doing it.
So y'all, both of you and Tim, and that was pretty, that was a big deal for us. The local people, have 2 local guys in it, and with the wins that y'all have, it's y'all done us good. So
I
we were
appreciate
proud.
that. Well, I had fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got to do it.
Now you
I
got
never-
some more coming up.
I don't know yet. So it's been talked about.
Okay,
I don't know
knew
yet.
there's some rumors
Yeah,
going
there's some
around.
rumors that maybe I can do something later in the fall, but my schedule doesn't allow for. I think our next weekend off is September 20 something. So with Smart and Bowman Gray, I don't really have a weekend off until then. But it's in the works. We'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see. But
well-
there's one thing I got to say here. There's one thing that maybe I want to clarify that when you were talking, it resonated. It pulled my heartstrings. As a dad, watching your son race, and you said you've been the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. I think one of the things, and that's Bowman Gray in a nutshell.
I see
Your
it.
hero or zero.
Yeah, that's it.
I think as a dad, we don't want to subject our sons to the lowest of lows. that
It's
we've been
hard.
involved with.
It's hard. I mean, take
There's
Ryan.
been lows that I don't want Slate to be a part of.
Well, like
And I
Ryan,
think you
he
feel the
had
same way.
an incident this week, and it's affected him. I can.
Well, they
I know
handled
my
it different
kid.
than we did.
Yeah, and it hurts. When not that he was just disappointed in another driver because he considered him a friend, and he didn't feel like he raced him as a friend.
Yeah.
And that hurt him. And Ryan holds stuff to the chest, and Chase is the same way. When they hurt, I hurt.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now that ain't going. That's going to be the same at Caraway and a car
Right,
store.
right. It won't matter, right?
Or a smart tour
Right.
at Franklin County. I mean, it's the same thing, but for some reason, it seems like it gets multiplied times 10.
It does.
When
At
it's at
Bowman
Bowman
Gray,
Gray,
man.
and it's most of it's social media.
It is.
Well,
and you think about like where Bowman Gray is on a national scale.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Everybody knows about.
I would
Bowman Gray.
love
like
to
the-
know the viewership on
yeah.
Flow.
They've told us.
I-
I don't remember exactly. Devin, do you have those numbers by any chance? I don't remember if.
I mean,
I
it's
know we
got to
had
be
them at
up
one
there.
time.
Which staff,
It's way
Stafford,
up there.
yeah,
It's
it's
way up
there's some good other.
Way up there. Well, when you run into Cup guys, and I know you work in ECR,
Mm.
you talk to a lot of those guys when they say, "Man, I Bowman Gray this and Bowman Gray that, and Bowman Gray this." That's what a lot of people
Yeah.
talk about, right?
But
So-
ain't it amazing how many of them said like when they came for the clash, that was their very first time there.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's like I lived in Mooresville, but I've never taken the drive to Bowman Gray, and I'm like,
What's wrong with you?
I mean, how could you not miss that? I mean, that's the circus.
Oh my goodness! All
But
right.
before I forget,
Yeah,
I remember when you ran your first race. I think it was a Datsun.
I had a Datsun 510.
Was it a number 5 on?
It was a 4.
Was it the
painted
one
up
you
like
bought
my
from
dad's.
Junior-
We bought it from Junior
Junior Tatum?
He had a 5 on it. We actually had to contact. Oh, I can see him.
I
and
think
his
I
wife's
raced. I
face.
think I was in that race, but
They
you
had
didn't
the
run
number
many
4,
races.
and we called them and bought the number 4 from them, so I could be number 4. And we painted the car like my dad's car.
But you didn't run. I don't even think you run 10 races.
I don't. Here's the funny thing. Justin Mincy had to remind me of what I did then. I thought I ran a full season of 4-cylinder.
No.
But I ran 4-cylinder, and then the next year I ran like 5 modified races, and then 95 was my first full season. And I don't remember some of that.
I don't think you run many because
But
I
I
was.
don't remember. I don't know why. I can tell you my dad's paint schemes through the years growing up, and then how I can't remember that part. I'm not sure. But yeah, I had a Datsun 510.
I
Had a
remember.
Datsun
I remember.
510,
We were
yeah.
racing. Do you remember what year that was? Because
93.
93.
93. I
Okay.
thought it was 94, but Justin Mincy let me know it was 1993.
Yeah, I remember Junior Tatum. Yeah, I remember the
It was a
car.
gray. His car was gray. It had a
Yeah.
5 on it. And we
Yeah.
painted it black and pink with a
Yeah,
4.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. Now Jason never run 4-cylinders.
No, he ran
street.
What was it? 1990.
He actually won the street division championship
in
one year,
01,
didn't
I
he?
think.
Yeah.
So if I'm remembering correctly, I won my first modified championship in 99, and he was rookie of the year in street stock in 99. And then we both won the championship in 01, if I'm not mistaken. And then
So he won street and you won modified?
in the same year, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
And then I want to say maybe it was 02 is when he went to modifieds. I think.
Yeah, I remember. Like I said, I remember all that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you know, it's amazing what you can remember. You know, a lot of times I forget anniversaries and birthdays, but when it comes to
We're
racing,
racing.
it's like it's embedded in me. I'm
Right.
like, my mind's warped.
All right, Devin, I need you to pull up another picture. Chase, bear with me, okay? Just bear with me,
Oh,
okay?
no, what we gonna see
Pull up
here?
another picture here. All right, so
Look at that mustache.
wait a minute now. So I didn't think anything about it. Seen him in the pits and whatnot, right? So I heard Dillner make a jab at you, picking at you about your mustache.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now, the reason that this is going to be funny is, Devin, pull up the next picture. Okay. So Jason's literally laughing, right? So whatever year this was, 18 maybe, 2018, we went to Myrtle Beach and I was driving Eddie Harvey's modified. I had no idea that first race of the year they would do headshots for everybody.
For the whole year.
So I thought, I'm going to try to grow me a little mustache, right? So when you pull up NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour and pull up Burt Myers, this is my picture.
No way.
This
It's
is my
from
picture.
2018 still?
2018, that's my picture.
Nice.
So my point to this is, just because we can't grow a Dale Earnhardt mustache
Right.
doesn't mean we
Right.
can't perform
I
like
agree
Dale
with you.
Earnhardt. Okay? All right.
I
give me
agree.
some on that.
I agree.
So, oh Lordy, but no. When I heard Dillner make a comment,
I
was
remember
like,
that.
You know what? I'm gonna ask him about it. But I had Devin pull that picture up with my little silly little mustache too. My wife says I can't ever do that.
I try to get him to
I
wear a
agreed with her,
hat.
so.
These hairstyles that these kids have.
I
man.
just wished I had hair. To be able
Yeah,
to
me
do that.
too. I wear a
I
hat.
definitely
Yeah.
got better hair now than I did. Yeah, for sure.
But just wait, it only gets worse.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh me. So earlier we talked about. I guess we started talking about it before we went on air. About how your car. We've grown up watching cars go through the corner, right? You got 2 straightaways that I think most people focus on. They want to think about horsepower and getting down that straightaway. But there's also 2 corners at that racetrack.
Well, that's where your speed is
that's
because
where
you're
your
slowing
speed is at,
down.
right? And I think I said this maybe last week or a week before. I can remember my grandma telling me when I was younger that when my grandpa could pick his left front up coming off turn 2.
I remember them days back
So
in
she
them old
said I knew he had him
modifieds.
covered. When he could get off, that meant he got off the corner good. When he could pick his left front up, she said I knew he had him covered that night. And so maybe in my mind for my career, it's been embedded in my mind getting off turn 2.
Yeah.
So when I was talking to Kyle Busch before the clash, and he said he wanted some pointers. And I said, man, you got to get off turn 2. He said, really? I would think it would be turn 4. When the wall sticks out, I would think turn 4 is where you want to get that good run. I said, well, you want to get off turn 4, but to me,
I think you need to
getting
get
off
off
turn
2
2.
and 4.
Do what?
I think you got to get off 2
Well,
and 4.
you do. But to me, if you can make that straightaway longer down the backstretch, it makes 3 and 4 a lot easier.
That's what I tell people about y'all. People don't realize the modifieds when they qualify, they get 2 corners, and you got to nail both of them.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so hard because you get 1 lap. You know, most qualifying efforts at other tracks is 2 laps. Y'all get 2 corners to nail it.
That's it.
You know, and it's mess up 1, you done messed up everything. So Yeah, getting through the corners is where we've been focusing in on.
I see it.
Yeah,
I see it.
well, and it's nothing we've done out of the norm. Besides, we found something that the track likes, the car likes, the driver likes. You put all that together,
Right.
and it may go away. The track's changing.
Right.
Track changes every week, in
every
my
week.
opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah, it does.
And we're, I didn't. The track is not the same as it was. We're
Yeah.
slower.
And why?
And
I can't figure it out.
I look at y'all's times, and
We're a half a second or better off.
yeah, and
Yeah.
we're not that much,
We're
but we're not.
3/10.
But this Saturday, where it got hot and it rained a bunch, I noticed the speeds came. We weren't as fast, and I'm looking at my stopwatch, and I'm like, oh, something's wrong. But there again, I look and going through the corner. As long as he's wrapping the bottom, I know that the track has changed. It's
Yeah.
not the car. So I don't know. One of the things that we found out this year about the track is every year, the last 2 years since they done the pave job, we start out with used tires. New tires don't work on our car. We're the only car that I
Really?
know of that runs
I like how you paint
last
the
year's
sidewall
tires.
too. I like how you do that.
Hey, ask him about that.
I like how you do that.
Me and my friend Jeff have to sit in the shop and do it.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, so we tried them this year. We always have new and we have used, and we got 4 or 5 sets we try, and I kept noticing that we were faster on new tires. I'm like,
Oh, use.
the new tires, not that we were
Oh,
faster
you're talking
on
about
new
the-
tires this
yeah,
year.
yeah.
And I like, that's different. So something's changed. So the track definitely has changed, but we're definitely we haven't lost the speed that y'all have.
Mhm.
But I don't know if it's going to come back.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Because see, with us, we put new tires on every week.
Every week.
And with us, one of the biggest things we fight is the freshness of tires.
Oh, okay.
So let's say just hypothetically, they get a batch of 500 tires in for the first race of the year. By the time we get to 4th or 5th week, it's still that same batch of tires. So they've sit in that box truck
They've cured a
over
little
at
bit.
Freeman Muffler Center,
Yeah.
90 degrees to 50 degrees to 90 degrees to 50 degrees. So then they lose 10 points on the durometer. So that's a lot of times where we lose time.
Yeah.
This year, the tires have been relatively fresh all year, but our times are still not there. So that's what's kind of making me
Yeah, I think it's the track,
puzzled.
and
It's
yeah,
puzzled
I think
about it.
it's the
It's got
track.
to be the track. It's got to be the track. Because it's the same. I'm running the same car with the same setup I did last year. And I'll say, like the first race of the year, and I don't know if it had anything to do with it, maybe a little cooler. And we also had the whole Friday practice. The first race of the year, I qualified on the pole at a 35. I think the next closest thing to that's been a 62.
Shoo.
So
I mean, you're
it's
3/10.
fallen off that much, and I don't know why.
Well, if you'll focus on a corner entry and a corner exit, if you could do a stopwatch there to there, that's the race.
Yeah.
That's your straightaway
Right.
speed.
Right.
It ain't got nothing to do with down the street. Every driver is to the floor. It's just a matter of how hard and how soon you
How
can
quick you can
Right.
apply
Right.
that.
Right.
And we hit something. Is it going to stay? I hope. We try to stay on top of it, and it's not anything magical. I wish it was something that I could sell, but it
Right.
ain't. It's the track's changed. We hit something. Obviously Dylan Ward he does a lot of our stuff, and we've been fortunate. So hopefully we'll continue.
Yeah. Well, you know yourself, you ride the train. Ride the train, because
yeah.
it eventually throws you off.
Oh,
eventually throws you
it'll
off.
spit you
That
up.
was like one thing when I first started in 2019 over there. He was like, "This place will eat you up and spit you out." These guys do not care.
Yeah.
And that's just one thing that stuck with me.
Yeah.
And it will. It'll, like I said, it's the highest to highs and lowest to lows. And obviously, I'm amazed when I look at Tim and Bert and then put a win column and look at all the wins. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine winning over 200 races between y'all two. And
We've been
what
doing
do
it
you
a
do
long
with the
time.
trophy? I mean, I've seen y'all's your shop. But Tim, I believe Tim used to give some.
I've seen where he would give a
He
lot
would
of
give
his
them
trophies
away.
Yeah.
I mean, and now I see why, because I'm out of room.
Yeah.
What are you gonna put?
Yeah, but
them?
I think you can agree when people say that, man, you're out of room. You say that's one thing we don't complain about.
Well, I mean, I just built a new shop, and I'm gonna have to figure out something. But that's a good problem to have.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
in my defense, I got 2 drivers,
Yeah.
and I had a few, but they're mostly falling apart. And all my trophies are, broke. And
we used to dig daddies out of the basement.
yeah,
When
but
we built our new shop in '99.
we would like to see some better trophies on a weekly night.
Yeah,
now the
it's,
good ones. Now those are great.
Those are good.
Those are really
good, yeah.
those are really
Yeah,
something to win.
so-
Those
That-
those right there.
I was seeing if that's the one that was. It's not. That actually. So to put it in perspective, it's identical to my other one. This was my last win. The one before that, my 100th career modified win, was just like that.
Wow.
So it's like, really? But
Yeah,
you know what? That one probably means as much to me as any of the rest of them. Sorry, I didn't mean to knock your stuff down, Devin. How
Yeah.
did you have that hanging up there? Did you just whisper it up there or something?
Honestly, yeah, probably.
Anyway, the thing that I knew this would be a good podcast because you guys, I can relate to you guys. I think you can relate to us because this is what we know. This is not a hobby for us. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Your vacations are planned around it.
Yeah.
We go to the beach. We leave on Sunday and come back on Friday if you're lucky. If
We
you don't have
don't,
to come back
I
early.
don't even mention that.
Yeah.
We ain't had we ain't took a vacation in about 4 years because typically during the July 4th break, he's driving at Caraway
Doing
for
something else,
somebody.
right.
So I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom's been on him hard. So
Yeah,
I think
my wife is the one has suffered through all this, and at my age, I got to start slowing down a little bit,
Yeah.
and that's why I'd love to, branch him out and let him go and see where he can go and with other people and take a little burden off me because at 61 years old, it's hard getting out of these cars, man, and getting up. I mean, it's you already hear me getting up. It's a grunt, but
I feel you.
Yeah,
I feel you.
I
I'll
mean,
be
I'm
50 this
amazed
year,
that,
but I feel it, man.
That's like people ask me about Tommy Neal. I mean, you got to give Tommy Neal credit. I mean, that dude still gets in a race car.
Yeah, he does.
And Tommy ain't no young guy.
Right.
And he ain't small.
He's a
either.
big boy.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right.
Don't go up and grab him. Yeah, I tell him all the time.
You better be fast.
I
That's
tell
right.
him all the time. The word is you can't fight you. You got to shoot you.
Yeah, right.
You ain't gonna grab him.
Well, I think one of the things that's that I made a note here because I think it relates to you guys and to our team is Banjo Matthews used to say, "Money by speed, how fast you want to go," but hard work and talent and dedication also by speed, and I see that in you and your family.
I mean, you got to have money, and we've
You've
been.
got to have the money to make it
You
work.
gotta
But at
have
the
it,
same
but-
time, you can take a guy that's got plenty of money and doesn't put it in the right spots and doesn't like. If I get this is a hypothetical question. If somebody came to me and wrote me a check for $250,000, and they said, "We want to sponsor your race team. Here's $250,000." I know certain drivers and teams that would say, "Phew, we got it made now," and they sit back and relax. What I do is I lean forward.
Yeah.
I keep banging this, Devin.
You got
I lean forward and say, okay, what can we do with this? How can we get better? How can we get faster? So that's what I mean by that is even though money is the major factor when it comes to making a race car go around a racetrack, you still have to have the dedication and the talent, which you obviously have. You still gotta want it.
You gotta want it. I tell
and
everybody.
if you don't want it, all the money in the world's not
Yeah,
gonna help.
we get a contest every now and then on our social media. We'll scream how bad you want it. You want it, and then we just keep going because money, you got to have it. But what are you going to do with it? If somebody gave me $250,000, I'm not going to go out and buy a big 18-wheeler or something,
right.
because it
Won't make you no
It's
faster.
not going to make me any faster.
right,
So I mean, I've seen a lot of people. It's not about how much money you have, how much are you willing to spend. That's the key in racing.
Well, and you know what's funny is, and y'all going to test this. people think you got race cars means you got a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right?
Buddy.
Oh, they got race. I think somebody put on there the other day when they were talking about protesting my motor. Well, he's got 5 more motors sitting there in the shop, and I'm like, I wish.
Yeah, I
But
wish.
outside looking in, I could see where somebody that didn't know any better would
Yeah,
think, oh, well,
yeah.
what do y'all got? 3, 4 cars?
4.
4. So I could see where somebody outside looking in says, man, they look at it. Their stuff looks nice. They win races. They got 4 cars. But what are you willing to sacrifice to have 4 race cars?
Well, back when you and I were, starting out, coming up with our parents, my dad would go to Jimmy Walls at number 1 Shell on Ronaldo Road, and he'd give him gas. He'd put his name on the car.
Yeah.
When I came up, I noticed things change. And now with Chase, and this with partners and sponsors, there's a lot of that falls on me as the team owner to give them their bang for their buck.
Absolutely.
Through not only just putting their name on the car. That's the least thing is putting the name on the car. Through promoting a brand, representing the brand. One of the things I try to tell Chase and Ryan was the same way is, getting a sponsor is good. Keeping them is, and we've been so fortunate that we've had long-term, like, yourself. And that's the key, is keeping a long-term partnership, because they see the value in it. I got sponsors that don't even come to the race.
Right.
I mean, I send out weekly updates every Monday, and some of them I don't hear from, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And they're the first ones that give me the check.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, so they see the value in it. I know they hear.
Right.
And they read the paper. That's one thing I try to teach. If somebody asks me about a young driver coming up, I tell them, you got to have funds.
Yeah.
If you don't have a rich mom and dad, you better find some people that are willing to back you. And in order to do that, you've got to give something. You've got to make sure that they understand that you're going to represent and you're going to promote and you're going to put their brand out there. So that's the key right now is, and I see a lot of people doing it. Social media, who would have thought 20 years ago we're doing a podcast?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
Who would have thought that?
Right.
I mean, so things have changed, but I like to think a lot of it's for the better. I'm not a very big fan of, I love when Bowman Gray's over because I can go on Facebook.
Yeah. It's
It's
hard to go on there during racing season.
I try to stay off of it because, I mean,
Right.
like other night, somebody said that, the Robertsons are always blocking for each other. And when they
I've
said,
never heard that.
but when I seen that, I was like, okay, let me go back. The last time 2 Robertsons were racing together, it had to have been me and Bryant, because Chase and Ryan would always do a start and park because Ryan didn't care. He was all there for Chase.
Yeah.
And so I don't even know what they were referring to.
Right.
And I said, that's why you don't comment. They don't know what they're talking about,
Right. Right. You got to get it. I totally agree. You got to put yourself in the mindset of who I'm arguing with here. You know what I mean?
I've never won a fight on
Jason actually
Facebook.
gets pissed off when somebody says he was blocking for me.
Yeah.
He says, what? I want to beat him worse than you do.
Well, that's just
Are
like
you
the
serious?
Stoltz deal. Bryant was leading that night, and I was running second. And I guess Tarek thought I was blocking for him. If I could have caught Bryant,
You'd have got by him, right?
I don't want Bryant to win a race. I mean, he had a better car than me, and it was just, I don't block for anybody.
No.
Chase and Ryan, I'm anxious to see when they get that they're getting closer in speed, and Ryan's getting, he's almost there. And
Got a little bit to go though.
There you go. There you go. If you don't think you're the best, nobody else
I
will
don't
either.
care.
Keep that in mind.
I don't care what they do. Just don't wreck each other.
Right.
I don't care what
Well,
you do.
that's me and Jason have that mentality, right? So we'll race each other hard, but clean, and knock each other around, whatever it takes. Just don't take each other out.
Jay Bird drove for me some at Elkin. You remember that? Yeah, you do.
How
Your
do I-
dad, y'all kept the car up there at your
How
house.
come I don't remember that?
Yeah, it was back in the, the Elkin days. Yeah, he drove it back when was it Monk? Monk was hanging.
Monk was hanging.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah, and
yep,
them two
yep.
together. Yeah, he drove 4 or 5 late model
don't-
races for me.
I might vaguely remember that. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I don't know why that's not coming back to
Yeah,
me.
yeah, Jay Bird.
I'll
Yeah,
be
they
darned.
don't come no better than old Jay Bird now.
Yeah.
He's about 3 fries short of a Happy Meal, but he's okay.
Well, y'all probably heard that, like when we had him on, and he said, "Yeah, I'll come on, but don't tell me what I can and can't say." And we're like, "All right,
Bless
go
his
for it,
heart.
Well, he
baby."
definitely used that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I tell people about Jason. This is the one thing that you can put in your pocket. Jason's method of delivery is very raw and it's very blunt, but what he says ain't wrong.
Yeah, he don't
What he
have
says ain't wrong.
he
So
doesn't have a
how he
filter.
brings it across is a little rough.
Yeah, where'd he get that from?
His mama. He got that from his mama.
Yeah.
He got that from his dad. My dad's he's laid back.
Your
But we
dad
always tell
was-
people, don't mess with Mama Myers.
Yeah, your
Don't
dad
mess with
was
Mama
always
Myers.
laid back.
Yeah. Well, so I want to give you a chance to thank your sponsors, your partners, whichever one of you or both of you, or because like you said, that's what makes this happen is for us to be able to go play on the weekends. It's
Well, I mean,
partners that
I'll say
invest
just without going through the whole list of the partners, but a couple guys have been with me, like Todd Hunt. Todd's been with me for 25, 30 years, and Todd's one of those guys I can call and what do you need? And that means a lot,
That's
whether
big time.
it's
Yep.
yeah, I mean, whether it's you name it, he'll give it to you. So partners like that, and sometimes we talk and we don't even talk racing,
Yeah.
and so I have to be careful because that's one of your biggest
No,
competitors.
listen, let me tell you. So I'll tell you about Todd. Todd, when Dario approached me, and you may know this story.
Oh yeah,
So when Dario approached me about getting on my car at the Clash, and the conversation was because I knew that Tim was involved on their side of things.
Yeah.
And I said, they asked me about contacting Todd Hunt. And I said, you definitely should contact Todd Hunt and get his opinion and his feelings on
Yeah.
this. When I was contacted back by Dario, they said, Todd Hunt said, if you don't get on both of those cars, you're making a major mistake. And I saw Todd at the Clash, and I said, Todd, you could have very easily said, nope, don't go with Bert.
Yeah.
Go with Tim. But he didn't.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, that meant a lot to me.
But-
The fact that Todd said, no, you know what? You should be on both of those cars.
Well, one of the things that
Tell me
Ryan,
what kind of person Todd
Yeah.
Hunt
Right.
is.
Ryan works for Todd, and and one of the things that I've learned through all the years, Todd doesn't mind helping, and Todd doesn't mind putting the money up. He doesn't mind hiring and paying people the best of the best that sell cars or buy cars. He only has one thing in return, and that's results.
Yeah.
He wants results.
Yeah.
So, I hope we've done him proud this
I think
year.
you're doing
and-
pretty good so far.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
doubt,
So,
no
we'll see. But no, mainly, we've had a lot of good success through working with Eric Messer, with our media partner. He's really done a lot. We do a lot with just joking and having a good time in the shop, and we just I got a lot of good help because I am nothing without my help.
Yeah.
I
right.
mean, I can't do it
Right.
all. I mean, they're at the shop working now.
You're right. Y'all are out here having a good
We're
time.
over here in the air conditioning, which they're in the air conditioning. So, but they're working on race cars. So, my guys, and mostly all these guys came from Chase's group, from his school.
Yeah.
All of our
Oh, it's-
guys.
yeah.
It was my freshman year, and Braden and Tucker, my two main guys, and they were seniors. I met Tucker through football, and his his grandfather raced at Bowman Gray. So
Years and years ago. I don't remember him, but
What's
I've
his
seen
last name?
pictures.
Myers.
It's a Myers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
Yeah.
I don't remember him, but it was before my time. Obviously, I was there from the mid '60s till now, but I don't remember him. But Chase has his group gave me extra strength because I couldn't have done it.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll, and you know, life will take them away.
It
You
does.
know that.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at
If you
look
can
at,
keep a guy or a sponsor for 3 years, man, that's pretty good.
that's
We're
what
going
I was
Because it
five
does,
telling.
right
life
now.
changes.
Life
You get
changes. They'll
guys
get
that come in
married
and they're
they'll have a
gung-ho.
kid. And
First one there, can't get enough of it. Next thing you know, they get a job or a girlfriend or a baby.
yeah,
And-
and we've been
and it's-
fortunate. We've been
it's how it
fortunate. We we have to embrace their women, and sometimes that's a job in that trailer. I can't even get in the trailer for all the wives and the women sitting in there. But you know, I'm getting better at it. At first, I struggled because I don't like you know, I don't like sitting around.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all in the trailer, just you know, and I'm
There's
like,
AC in there, so
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, that's why I don't have AC in my trailer. That way everybody has to be outside.
oh, if you don't have AC in the trailer, there wouldn't nobody be in there.
No, we have
Yeah.
a fan out there, but no AC.
Yeah, that's
so.
cool. But Chase, you can give the rundown.
Another guy is just obviously Dylan Ward.
yeah.
We started with him in 2022, and that's when I got my I won 3 races that year, including my first ever win at the stadium. So to think that we've won 3 races or 16 races, and this will be my 4th year and counting, is just that's a testament to Dylan. He's put a good piece under me. Obviously, the car was a little bit off last year, and we just could never find the right adjustment or something just to make me comfortable week in and week out. Like one week I'd be really good, and the next week we didn't change a thing, and the car just didn't have the same feel. And that's it's kind of hard coming off a championship the year before. It's like we just ran this.
Yeah,
we
what's
just
going
ran
on
this
here?
track.
Yeah.
We just won the championship. Like what is what's the deal? My dad, him, me, and all the guys, we just kept working. And over the off season, like Dad said, we came with the same package, but there were some things that Dylan wanted to try, and I think he's knocked it out of the park. He's the car's what I like. What I like is when the car stays the same week in and week out. That's when I know I got a really really good piece. And so just got to thank Dylan. He's been a huge part of my success over there. My dad, my dad and mom. My brother's racing now. It took me forever to finally actually get him to try. He would go out there like Dad said, start in park, do all that. But I wanted to run against him because I watched a little bit of my dad racing growing up, but I was very young. So my brother was the guy that I was always watching.
Pretty good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he just, I was, to answer your question from before, about when I really,
Yeah.
knew that I wanted to race was just watching him because, he raced all the time. Dad was always in the shop. So it was just something that I knew I wanted to do because I wanted to be like my brother.
Yeah.
So,
That's pretty cool, man.
So,
That's pretty cool. That's got to make you proud too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're both good drivers.
Y'all done a
but
good job.
they're both good people, and if I can pass that on, I've done a pretty good job. But I've had a lot of help, good parents, and we've tried to instill. They're not going to get anything free. Their dad and mom's not rich,
Right.
so you better treat that race car and the competitor like your own because somebody's got to fix that.
Right.
yeah, that's,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
people ask me all the time, like, how do you not get in the drama? How do you, just keep your nose clean? It's like, I don't want to be in the shop
wanna tear it
all
up,
week.
right?
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
I want
That's right.
to
Yeah.
find speed. I
That's
don't
right.
want to,
I'm gonna be working on damage.
Yeah, the worst, I hate putting duck work.
We're working on damage. It's hard to work on speed.
Exactly.
Yeah, see,
So that's,
it's-
But I'll tell you this: the preacher. It was Father's Day, obviously, last weekend. The preacher said that what you pour into your son is what he's going to pour into his future son.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's obviously
Yeah.
y'all done a good job.
Yeah.
Y'all done a good job. I don't know Ryan as good as I do you, but I've always I don't want to be corny, but I've always pulled for you. I've always kept my eye on you.
Thank you.
Well, they call him
Likewise.
Little Slate. That's what the rumor. I don't know how they got
How'd
that.
that come
No,
from?
Tucker calls
Is it
him
the
Slate.
hair?
Yes, as
What
soon
is
as
it?
I got this
Teeth?
haircut.
What's the
I don't
Well,
know.
it's the hair, because as soon as I got this haircut and Tucker came over to the shop, he just smiled and was like, "You look like Slate
Oh
Myers."
my goodness.
I guess. I mean, whatever. It's not a bad one.
No,
I
you
mean,
know
they
what?
good,
You know, I
good
tell
kid.
Slate, and you've probably said this too. And the main time I pull this card out is when you see they're struggling, or you see they're having a difficult time. I always pull the fun card. Look, I know this is serious. I know we take this serious, but go have fun. When I see Slate struggling, I say, look, take a deep breath. Just go have fun,
It's hard
man.
though,
It is.
especially
You're
over
right,
there.
it is.
Over there.
But if you ever get to the point where you're not frustrated when you're not running good, you might as well quit.
Yeah.
You might as well
I mean-
quit. Now, some people take it to a new level
Yeah.
and they let their emotions get the best of them.
Right.
But I don't want Slate to ever get to the point where we ran fifth tonight. That's pretty good. All right, let's go. That was awesome. I want it to be, man, we finished fifth, but what can we learn from tonight?
Right.
How can we get to fourth? How can we get top three? So you got to have that. I see that in you. And obviously, she gets it from you, and then you got it from Gerald. And
Yeah.
that's how it works.
Yeah.
So,
It's-
so if I put it up here, can you see it? So this is something that we're starting.
All right, we're gonna start something new.
Starting something new, and we're gonna
I'd
have
like
to-
to be the first.
So we're starting something new, and I know that since Jason was on here already, we're going to get flack from it. And I've already talked to Danny Bone, so we're gonna
You're gonna ship them something.
we're gonna backtrack and go back and reimburse
No,
the guests
no,
we've already
no.
had.
Well,
But
just
every guest is going to get a deep cleaning grill kit from Citrusafe. Just looking at the box here,
That's
just
got-
around it has a list.
it's got a lot of goody things in
flip it
there.
around.
Yeah.
It's got a list here. Well, it was the same thing on that side, Devin.
No.
Is that the list?
Check the right column.
Over here. Okay. So it's got the grill cleaner, the exterior grill cleaner, the heavy duty grill soap, heavy duty nylon brush, which I don't know if you guys, when you clean your grill, don't ever use a wire brush. I don't know if
No.
anybody's ever told you that, but don't do it. Now you don't have to. It also has a scrubber with a handle with 15 pads, a cookbook scraper, 2 Citrusafe microfiber towels, and heavy duty bucket.
Wow.
So this stuff, the thing about Citrusafe is, and I think I'm telling it right. So back in the day when we were growing up and your parents would clean the oven with the oven cleaner.
Yeah, we just spray it.
Yeah. And you had to go out, but you had to leave the house.
Yeah.
Because it'd burn your eyes and all that stuff, right? So Citrusafe, Stephen, Devin, if I'm telling something wrong here, correct me, but I think I'm right. So the way I clean my grill is I take the Citrusafe and I spray it on the grate, right on the grill. Let it sit for an hour, come back, and then I'll use the little handheld scrubber and scrub it really good, and then come back with that towel. I use a paper towel or a towel and wipe it off, and you can cook right on it. It's eco-friendly, so it's not
Wow.
no chemicals. So anyway, both of you are going to get a box.
Well, we'd
Thank
like
you.
to try it.
We're going to get
We
it. Let's put
appreciate
it up
it.
here
Thank
where
you
we can-
to Citrusafe, and
So,
I'll tell Jason though when I open mine that there was also a cash
okay.
reimbursement in there
There's a
too.
gift card in there.
Yeah, gift card, cash, and you know, I'm gonna rub it into Jason.
And I will tell this. This is I'm speaking for Burt Myers. I'm not speaking on behalf of Citrusafe cleaners. If you have a power steering leak or an oil leak, this is a degreaser. So I have used.
Oh,
So,
don't say
like,
that. Don't
all
say
right.
me that because I'm gonna need about 4 cases.
Okay,
of
so
this
like in a
degreaser.
modified, you got the belly pan, right?
Yeah.
I've had when a rack leak into the
Oh.
belly pan, take that belly pan off, stand it up, squirt it down with Citrusafe, and then rinse it off. So it is a degreaser.
Wow.
So now I don't know the FDA will tell you that it's okay to do any of that,
Yeah.
but it is a degreaser.
Wow.
So
That's
yeah.
good to
Okay.
know. That's
So,
good to know.
lawnmowers,
Yeah.
anything that needs degreasing.
Well, let's try the grill first.
try
Then
the
we'll-
grill.
Let's
Let's try the grill first, but
and then
we
we'll
got a
move
box
on.
for each of you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
and then
you.
we'll go on to other, and then we'll give you some feedback.
Yeah, we'd like
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah,
we'd appreciate
yeah.
that. But it's just a thank you from me and from our
Well, I
guys at
appreciate it.
I
Citrusafe.
appreciate
You guys
being on
coming
here.
on.
Well, thank
Like
you
I
for
said, I was
having us.
excited about this one. No offense, Mike, but whenever I asked Slate and my wife, I said, we need to have somebody from another division. And I knew I had somebody in mind. And I said, who do y'all think? And I asked them at different times. I said, who do you think from another division at Bowman Gray that would be a good guest to have? And both of them at different times said Chase Robertson. Chase
Well, I
Robertson.
gave him
So-
20 because somebody told me you were going to ask that, so I gave Slate 20, and
Yeah, all
your
right.
wife wanted 100.
Oh man. Well, Anyway, thank you guys
Yeah,
for coming.
thanks for having
It's
me,
been a
man.
blast.
This is awesome.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Look forward. Good luck this
You
weekend.
too.
Look forward to hanging out with you guys. It's funny because I've known you my whole life. We don't know much about each other, but
we
I've known
don't,
you
we
my
don't,
whole
we
life.
just see in passing. I mean,
Yeah.
I stay under the tree.
Yeah, right.
That's what everybody. That's what I tell everybody.
And I stay in my pit.
I
so.
stay under the tree and try to stay out of the under the radar and focus. I brought mostly all my friends with me to the track.
Right. That's what you got to do, right?
And because I've been sitting on a trailer talking to a guy about life, and then we get in a race car and go out there and come in and want to kill each other.
Well,
So-
that's one thing about it. We can probably be better friends with this group than we
Yeah.
can racing with
Yeah,
people we
yeah.
race
If-
against
if
because we
you're
don't
gonna
race
race-
against each
right.
other. So.
Yeah, if you race, you're gonna get into
You
one.
are.
Yeah,
You
it's
are.
just
It
gonna-
was interesting with Danny Bone last week because we've had a couple run-ins, but we're good. And I told Dan, so maybe next weekend we might be
That's what it
be
is.
tearing each other up again. But
Yeah.
anyway, thank you guys.
Thank you
Really
for
appreciate
having
you
us.
coming on.
Appreciate it.
And don't forget, fans, tune in. I want to ask you guys too. Don't forget to go to racefangear.com to get any of your Burt Myers or Citrusafe or Slate Myers merch. Is there a place other than buying it at the racetrack? Do you
Yeah, we
guys
have a website.
Okay, what's your website?
It's just chaserobertsonracing.com.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a store on there, and you can ship. We ship to you, and obviously after the race, come and get a picture with Chase
Or before the race.
Before and after. Right.
After,
Right.
yeah. So yeah, but thanks again for having
Yeah.
us. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
it's been fun.
This was when we got the text. I was like, this is gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Because like I always
I
grew
was
up
calm.
watching and
you-
watching you, and it was just I was like, I really never really got to talk to you. So I mean, this was just a really cool moment for me.
I just didn't want to
appreciate
try to
Yeah.
upstage Jason because I mean, like his was like.
I don't know
Over
that we're
the
going
board,
to.
and
I don't
I'm
know that
like,
we're going to do that without
Jay Bird
having
was,
Donald
like,
Trump
off
on
the
here or
chain
something.
that night, and I tried to keep it professional and courteous, and Jay Bird throwed all that out the window, just went normal. That's who he is.
We gave him the disclaimer, so we was like, "Go for
I
it."
mean,
man.
he did
Go
say
for
you
it.
can't tell me what
Yeah.
I cannot say. So
We put it up front
Yeah.
to make sure.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you guys for
Thanks.
watching, and tune in next week. We don't know who our guest will be yet, so you have to tune in to see who it's going to be. Thank you for watching.